nobody can control you unless you let them. There's a part of you that's allowing that to happen. I think she had been in 2 or 3 relationships and they didn't work and she couldn't be herself. It was just a bit intimidating for her. I can love myself, I can trust myself, I can set healthy boundaries. It's always something that we have in ourselves. Otherwise, we couldn't make that judgment. I always say, can a blind man know darkness? Just tell the brain that you're happy, so it'll send out the happy hormones so you can start to feel good as well.
Hello, I'm your host Nihed, and I'd like to welcome you to another episode of Helply, where our mission is a deep dive into mental health strategies and stress management technique of high individuals. Today, our guest has more than 30 years of experience in clinical hypnosis and psychotherapy. She's a counselor and coach for stress management for high ultra net worth individuals. So consider this a masterclass brought to you by Helply. And I'd like to welcome our guest, Helen. How are you?
Thank you. It's good to be back.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to have you with us today. We talked a lot about clinical hypnosis. We talked a lot about therapy, and today we are taking another deep dive into therapy. So first, we would like you to introduce our viewers who are with us for the first time today. What is therapy? What is psychotherapy? What's the different divisions? And you as a professional, how do you see it?
Okay, sure. If we look at therapy itself, there are so many different therapies that are available these days. For me, myself, I incorporate a lot of different ones that sort of complement each other. So it's more of a holistic approach. It helps on a physical level, a mental, emotional, and if you want, a spiritual level, looking at your authentic self. So from there, we start with the counselling, which is really a lot of talk therapy, but there are techniques there to really deep dive into what's not only going on, but where did that really arise from? Because we're not born that way. So something's happened to get us to where we are. It's a lot of questions. It's a lot of going back to perhaps your parents' history or whatever incidences or even traumas that you've had along the way. So that's the initial stage. The next part of the therapy is to work out, okay, what best suits this individual? So from there, it could be hypnosis, clinical hypnosis. It could be the hypnosis could go for inner child healing. It could be that they just need to sort of have more of a positive outlook on life. Rather than see things in a negative light, you can do a reprogramming where you have them in an altered state so they're able to absorb the information and store it and have a different perspective on themselves so they can operate from that state. You might use another modality, which I love. It's called voice dialogue. It's for subpersonalities. I don't think a lot of people on this side of the world have heard about it. I think I'm probably the only person that does practice it, but I used it a lot in Australia, and it's very fast and very effective. And then, of course, the other part of it is the life coaching, where now we take the person who has healed and wants to move forward in their life and let them see what their options are from a very empowered perspective.
Wow, that's a lot to take in the first. But it's very interesting. You said subpersonalities and voice dialogue. I never heard about that, and that's actually the first. You're right. It's the first time we can actually learn about that.
Yeah. So basically, what it is, all of us think we have this one personality, and really, it's made up of many subpersonalities. So, for example, the person that you present with me when you're talking to me is different to when you're with the Uber driver, your mother, your boss at work, your friends. You're in and out of these personalities all day. So some of those operate at different levels within us. For example, if you're an anxious person, you're actually operating from the part of your personality that is the anxious self. Now, you're not like that all the time. Sometimes it can be the case where you go into panic attacks, but you know yourself when you do become anxious. And then there are times when you're not. You're calm, you're cool, you're collected, and things are going well. That's another subpersonality. So across the board, there are many. Usually we operate from about 5 to 10 subpersonalities predominantly, but it depends on everyone's individual circumstance.
Okay, yeah. Now I understand what it is. We actually we use it today to day life, but we actually never think about it from the psychotherapy point of view and how therapists view it. Actually, it's very interesting. And you said the voice dialogues. So
yeah.
you use that for like therapy for the subpersonalities.
Yeah, so it's basically called that because we're having a dialogue, a conversation with those parts of yourself. So we're giving them a voice, because when you just operate from a default mode, you're not really aware that you have all of these different parts to yourself. And they do play a role. They are there for a reason. And usually they're all there for a good reason, although sometimes it doesn't seem to look like it's a good reason. So yeah, we need to talk directly to them and find out, okay, why this part of yourself behaving in an anxious way? Where did that come from? So when you do have that direct conversation with them, they will tell you the answer.
So when you're doing the therapy session with the subpersonality, you use voice dialogue.
Yeah.
And then do you kind of differentiate between different subpersonalities? Do you use like how it goes through the therapy session? Like what's the steps in it?
Yep. So basically, for example, without breaching confidentiality, just this morning I had somebody that presented with a lot of insecurity, fear about choices that they had to make, and feeling like they're not emotionally supported. So we needed to sort of look at, okay, where did this stem from? Why are you actually feeling this way? You know, all our belief systems are beliefs that we received from our primary carers or anyone that we sort of grew up with. You know, you weren't born with these beliefs. So, and I thought, okay, this needs to go right back to find out where this insecurity first came from. And then I thought, you know, she said to me, there was a time where I was really independent. I was able to make decisions. I first came to Dubai. I was strong and I found a great job and everything was going well. I didn't feel insecure at all. So that's one subpersonality straight away that stood out to me. Okay, who was that? And then the other part of it is the insecure self. And these subpersonalities have names. They know their names. When I actually speak to the client and describe the subpersonality to them and say, okay, just visualize that part of yourself, that person. What is their name? And they quickly find a name for it. And sometimes it can be a funny name. Like one time I had a very shy person and their name was Mouse and they wanted to be Eagle. And so, you know, it's different for each individual. So that's the way of sort of pulling out and recognizing what that person needs. And maybe it's not a deep hypnosis to start with. Maybe they really need a quick fix because they have to go to work and they want to be a different person. So this helps them straight away. It's very effective.
It's very interesting that you said that you actually let the clients identify their own subpersonalities and you just guide them through it. So how does that process go? Do you direct them in a certain direction to identify those personalities, or you let them identify themselves?
Yeah. So when they present, first of all, they've come in and they have a problem. Let's just take the example of being shy. So that might come across that they have a presentation to do at work and they're really scared. They're shy to stand up in front of everybody and do that. So they're coming to me telling me, I'm too scared to do this presentation. I feel anxious. And through questioning, we can find that it comes back to, you know, that person being shy. Even as a child, they were shy for whatever reason. So they developed that personality. So it will stand out to me very quickly, just through what they present with and with questions that I ask them to find that, because I am looking for keywords that will direct which personality will show up.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
Is it difficult to dive into that subpersonalities and kind of differentiate them and find where is the problem with one subpersonality? Like, no, this one is good, this one is the causing problem. Is it like even you can say that as a therapist, like this one is the problem, this one is good? Because I have very limited knowledge when it comes to that.
Yeah. Well, really the client will say it's not that so much that they are a problem. They might be causing some sort of hindrance in the person's life, limiting them from, you know, becoming their best version of themselves. The thing is, these subpersonalities, they're actually working in our favor. They have a good reason why they do this. Even the anxious self, the angry self, they're doing it for a good reason. But the reason that they think is good might have worked at some point in their life. So they thought, great, I'll be like that. That works. And then they've carried it through. And now in their adult life, it doesn't work anymore. I mean, you just can't go to work and be angry with people. It's just not going to work. Whereas once upon a time, maybe that saved somebody in a situation and they thought, yeah, that's good. All of these subpersonalities, it's not so much that they are a problem, but the way they're behaving doesn't serve the purpose the client needs today. So we have to go back and find that. And then in a way, the voice dialogue, having that dialogue with them, is to help them to understand that I know you're trying to help this person, but right now you're hindering them. That's not helping, and show them how. Because the client would tell you, I do this at work and it's really bad for me. So when they can see that they're no longer helping, it's like talking to a child and making it understand. And it says, no, I'm not here to hurt her. I want her to be better. And all these subpersonalities know each other. So I say, okay, so rather than be anxious or shy, would you rather confidence takes over? So confidence is a subpersonality, and you can rest assured when she was confident, everything went well. And they think about it and they go, yeah, that's fine. So they come down a level, and they'll tell you exactly how much they're going to come down.
That's very
yeah.
It's like it seemed like the person who's actually in control of the entire session, and they already know the solution, but they don't know that they know. Like subconsciously, they're aware if there's something is wrong, and they you guide them through the whole process, I guess.
Yeah. So yeah, they do know. If you know when you're shy, and you find things that you can't do that others can do. So you know that part. You don't know how to fix it though. You don't know how to go deep within and work out why am I shy like this? Why am I behaving this way? Whereas I can direct that because I know exactly what I'm looking for. I know exactly what I need to do to help that sub-personality come out of its shell in a way and say, okay, yeah, I know that I'm doing that, but it's for this reason. And then I can show it, no, that reason doesn't work. It usually does, it'll say like, I'm operating quite highly in her life or his life. I'll say, well, how much out of 100%? And they might say, 87% of the time I'm around, I play a big role. And when they understand that it doesn't work, I can negotiate with them to bring them down. Some of them are stubborn and they'll say, okay, I can drop from 87 to 80, and I'm there, it's not much of a drop, and I'll try again. Sometimes they'll come down to 60, and others will just go right down to 5% and say, yeah, I know this isn't working. And they're comfortable with that. And if they don't, we can always revisit it and enhance that.
Do you think of a situation or examples that happen with you without breaking confidentiality that was like it's really difficult to actually process and negotiate with the subpersonalities and to guide the client through?
Actually, whenever someone asks me that, I think of one that it happened a couple of years ago, but it is a bit of a funny story. So I'll sort of come back to that. But this person presented with being extremely timid and shy to the point where she couldn't hold a relationship. I think she had been in 2 or 3 relationships and they didn't work, and she couldn't be herself. It was just a bit intimidating for her. We worked through a lot of issues that she had, and she was ready to go back on a date. So she wanted confidence. She didn't want shyness. She wanted confidence. And I remember doing the voice dialogue with her, but she was very scared. And when we're fearful, we have resistance. So I think like shyness had been around all her life, and she was operating something like at 93%. That's really high to be shy and timid for that much of your day, of your life. So when I said to her, look, you need to come down a little bit because obviously this isn't helping. She needs to go on a date. I think the date was the next night. And this part of her, and this was the one that was Mouse. Mouse was so scared, and they actually talk with the voice of a mouse nearly, because that's who she is. It agreed to come down, I think, to 90% from 93, and I'm there, this isn't going to work. So I kept talking to her. I know exactly how to navigate it, to get her to just drop that role a little bit. And I think she came down to about 55 by memory, something like that. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. That's a good start. We can always come back to this. And we went to confidence. So confidence wasn't operating very much in her life, and confidence wants to, because it is confidence. So it automatically comes up. There's a space that's been opened up. It's ready to go, and it jumped up to, I think, like 70 or something like that. And I asked it, what is it going to do? What changes it'll make? And they have ideas. They know what they want to do for you. me. Like, they are confident, they're positive, they're happy, they want to do this, they want to live life, which was all good. And anyway, away she went. So she came back 2 days later and I said, how did it go? And she goes, I went on the date and you're going to laugh at me. I said, what happened? I got a bit worried. And she said, I was on my date and I thought of you. I'm there. That's not a good thing to think of your therapist while you're on a date. And she said, no, you know what? We were having a nice meal and I was talking. And then into the conversation, I realized that he was just staring at me. And I got really self-conscious and I thought, oh my God, is there food on my face? What's going on? And then she said to him, I'm really sorry. You're staring at me a lot. Is there something wrong? And he sort of like was in a trance. And he goes, no, sorry, I didn't mean to stare. I love your confidence. And she goes, I just immediately thought of you. And I still get chills till today about that story. And she goes, I'd totally forgotten that I was being confident. It just came natural to her. So that's how fast it works.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
But it's like, I'm thinking when you were talking about like how with that like shyness or like mouse trying to, from 93 to 90, is it part of it as losing control? Like someone who, let's say the sub-personality who's in control of that situation or the person's life, and then they go and just to give up that control, because like, let's say someone who's like have controlling issues and they feel like they're gonna lose control, and once they lose control of the situation and everything gonna go bad or like their mistakes gonna happen. Like, what's the biggest issue or the biggest difficulties that you face when dealing with that?
Yeah, so it's interesting you said control because, what is control? You need to control everything. Why do you need to control everything? Because you feel if you don't, then somehow you lose or you're weak. And a lot of times control is about feeling powerless. If our inner belief about ourselves is that we are weak and powerless, then we will want to control everything because we don't want anyone to see that. So this is where control comes in. And let's say it originated when you were a child, you were very, very controlled. As an adult, you're not going to let that happen anymore. So now you're going to take over. And so you have to make sure everything goes your way. So you have a fear that if I let go of control, I'm going to go back to the way I was. People will control me. And that's just a fear. So you don't have to be powerless. There has to be a happy medium for everything. If I can speak to that part of that subpersonality that is the controller, then I can find out, okay, when did you become the controller? Why? And how has it served you? It might have served back then when they decided, you know what, I'm going to take back my power. And they did something and it worked. People backed off and they felt, okay, now I'm powerful. I'm not powerless anymore. I'm going to keep doing this. But it doesn't work in every situation. But the minute you create a belief that it did, you will operate that way. So we have to make the controller understand, no, it doesn't work anymore. Nobody likes to be controlled. If you're going around trying to control everyone, you're not going to keep many friends. In a way, you're sort of trying to negotiate with them and make them understand that you're not helping this person anymore. And they do get it. They realize, oh yeah, it did work back then, but now I can see how it's hindering, her or him. And when they get to that point, as soon as it clicks over, oh yeah, this doesn't work anymore, they're willing to come down. They don't have to go away. Often I'll say to them, okay, you want to drop down to, let's say 40%. You can be there. You're still there if that person needs you, but you don't have to be there so much where it's detrimental to them in a way, because nobody will tolerate it. And they get it. So they don't feel like they're really losing power because they're still there. And then we reassure them that there's another part of them that is not controlling, is maybe assertive and, has healthy boundaries, is respectful, doesn't have to be controlling or rude or anything like that, but is a part of them that, no, I've got this. And once they know, oh, that part can take over, yeah, they've done it before and they're okay, they let go.
It's very interesting to talk about this one and to see it in that way, because I think we all do it, that if I control the situation and it worked now, okay, that's it. I'm going to continue doing that because it worked for me for so long, like you said. So it's very difficult to, no, I'm going to let other people take over. I'm going to let people control that. It's it's very hard. You say like it's different from different subpersonalities, but that letting go of that control, it takes courage from lots of people.
It does. And it's about the belief that you are powerless. That's why you need to control everything. So if you can get rid of that fear or that belief that I'm powerless and people try to control me, because it's not true. Nobody can control you unless you let them. There's a part of you that's allowing that to happen. This is why you fight it. But when you have the belief that, wait a second, I am powerful within my own right, just like anybody else. I don't have to prove that power. I can just be strong within myself. I can love myself. I can trust myself. I can set healthy boundaries. I can be assertive and firm and confident, and I can still get the job done. I don't have to be controlling.
And not to control everybody. It's like not to be like control freak and micromanage everybody. And I can still have a control over my life and the situation without being absolutely crazy, I guess. With fair, it's very interesting to hear that from that different aspect of it and how you balance everything. And I guess our viewers is like the first time to kind of differentiate that. And they would look at it the same way I do. And so if I want to explore my sub-personalities, if our viewers want to explore their sub-personalities, what's the first steps? How would they actually go about it?
Okay, so it's really good. I always say write things down, because when we write things down, we're making the invisible within us, what we're thinking and feeling, we're making it visible in front of us. Our eyes can look at it with a different perspective. And when you're writing it down, somehow, automatically, your true self will express what it wants to say, because it's not voicing it out loud for everybody to hear. It's just there on the paper. I'm safe. So you look at the things that are maybe upsetting you in your life. Maybe, there's a part of you that feels that she's the inner critic. You get up in the morning, oh my God, I look terrible. What's wrong with my hair? My jeans don't fit. This is going to be a horrible day. Look at the words we say. This is called the inner critic, by the way. It's another subpersonality. So if you recognize that within you, write it down. Yeah, I do that. These are the things I do that really sort of sabotage me. Are you a people pleaser? That's another subpersonality. Do you go around trying to please people? Okay, where did that come from? And is that your job in life, just to please everyone? How long have you been doing it? You want to keep doing it. You ask yourself these questions. No, I don't want to be a people pleaser. Well, who would you rather be? Write that down and get a really clear picture of it, and they will stand out to you. And this is what you can bring if you come to see me, I'll be there. Oh, great, you've done half my job. We see what that is. And once you recognize it outside of yourself, because a lot of things that go on internally, we either suppress or don't want to see or don't know how to deal with. But once it's out here, I'm looking at it, I'm just like, yeah, that is me. I'd rather be different, but I don't know how to do it. This is, a good way of saying, okay, I realize that the path I'm walking, the way I'm behaving, the choices I'm making aren't really working for me. And it's because of this.
And is it difficult for people to actually put their emotion to paper? Or sometimes it's difficult to understand what's going through your head and to actually put like pen to paper and write it down and to kind of pinpoint where it goes wrong.
Yeah.
And sometimes you see some people venting and talking endlessly, and you just need to pick through things, because sometimes it's so many things going into our head. We can just maybe overwhelmed. Maybe you just want to deal with one thing, so we just say everything or deal with everything all at once. You think it's very difficult as well for some people to pinpoint what their problem is or what they're going through?
Yeah, absolutely. It can be. And some people are in complete denial. No, there's nothing wrong with me. It's you. I'm not a control freak. It can be that way. And sometimes it's hard. People find it difficult to sort of journal or write things down. I've got a really great technique that helps with that. And if people come into therapy, I can teach them this. It's very quick, and all the answers will come to you. Sometimes if you don't see it in yourself, other people will point it out and they'll say it to you, especially your family or your close friends. They'll make sure, why do you do this? Well, why are you trying to control everybody? And you'll say, but I'm not. Listen to them. They can see you, And then really ask the question and be honest with yourself. Am I really a control freak? Am I really doing this? And look, am I like that at work, with my friends, with my family? What's my bedroom like? Am I trying to keep everything in the right place and I want it perfect? There's a reason why you're doing that.
It's very interesting you say, take the opinions of others as well. Do you also trust other people's opinion about your clients as well? I think it depends as well from the environment that they're in and the type of people they're surrounding themselves with. If they're honest, kind, truly care about the person, want them to improve.
Yeah.
Because not all of us have that kind of luxury and privilege. And I can say about myself, it took a long period of time to get to people I fully trust and I fully appreciate and love, and I know they want the best for me. And it's a journey. It's a journey through self-reflection that goes also about the people around us and where we are in life right now and what type of people we want to surround ourselves with.
Yeah. Absolutely. I'm not saying that, take everybody's opinion on board. Some people are judgmental and just rude or insulting. You can sort of discern between that and your true friends. But, the people who love you. Sometimes it's hard for them to say it. But even with that, often when we hear something and it hurts us, it's the truth. And
yes, definitely.
And sometimes when people point something out in you, it's because it's in them as well. We mirror each other. That's why we come together. So if somebody says you're controlling, somewhere within them, it might not be the same way that you do it, but they are doing it too in some aspect of their life. That's a really good way of saying, okay, let me take this on board and see, where am I doing this in my life? Because when people pass judgment, and we all do it, it's always something that we have in ourselves. Otherwise, we couldn't make that judgment. I always say, can a blind man know darkness? Can he?
Oh, wow. That's a very kind of, it's a very good question.
But think about it. If he only knows darkness, he wouldn't be able to say what darkness is. He couldn't judge it because he hasn't seen the light. You see, when you know something, when you can compare and you actually know it, then you can judge it. So what does that say about you when you're judging somebody? You know it in yourself.
I think there's a difference, and some people, once you know yourself enough and once you know people around you, to people who are giving you good feedback and they actually want you to improve, and people who are actually tearing you down and telling you you're not good enough, basically.
Yeah. And the thing is, if you hear that and it hurts you, somewhere within yourself you think you are not good enough because it hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's, I think it also takes time with the person. Once they know themselves enough and they're in a good position in their life, they can differentiate between those type of people and friends as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And, at the end of the day, even if it's not nice, everything happens for a reason. I really believe that. And it is maybe just to help us to improve or to learn a lesson. I think everybody's struggling with self-love. We all think there's something either wrong with us or other people are better. They're prettier, they're smarter, they're stronger, they're more confident. I'm not like that. I wish I could. Anytime you have any of those feelings, that's a lack within you. And you can't have any lack. Everything exists. You were born whole and complete. You think of yourself as a baby. Babies don't care. They're not scared of anything. They don't go around looking in the mirror and go, I don't like that nappy on me. They don't care. They're just loving and they're peaceful and they're happy. And this is our innate nature. So we need to love ourselves and know our worth. Then you won't judge yourself. You won't. And things won't affect you as much. Like if somebody says something to one person and they feel horrible, that person might say the same to another and that person will go, I don't really care. So when you get hurt, it's in you. You need to look at what's hurting you.
Yeah, I think it's like you said with the confidence and how you let the confidence take over sometimes. How would you let the shyness take over sometimes? How you balance that and into the best for you and what's your benefits.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. So let's say we've gone through the sub-personality and we do the voice dialogue. What's the benefit of it, as a whole kind of therapeutic experience they're going to gain at the very end?
So the benefits are that it's fast, it's easy, and it's effective. You gain insight to the sub-personalities and how they influence the way you interact in the world and with people. You see your strengths and your weaknesses. And then you actually gain power over them and say, I know when the inner critic pops up now. I don't feel bad anymore. That's just part of me saying that I'm, not good enough or not pretty enough or whatever. No, that's not true. Not true. I'm beautiful. And you know what? Your body doesn't know the difference to what's happening out here or what's happening inside. If you visualize something, if you tell yourself something, your body will believe that. You'll wake up in the morning. If you wake up, you've gone to bed, they've had a whole day of criticizing yourself, and you wake up and look in the mirror and you go, oh my God, I think my face is different. I don't like you will start to look that way. If you get up every single day and say, hey, you're gorgeous. Are you getting younger? You look great today. Doesn't matter if your hair's going that way, if you've got an extra wrinkle, just keep that positive self-talk up. Those affirmations actually work.
speaking to the mirror to yourself. It was like,
Absolutely.
I'm beautiful, I'm gorgeous, everything is great.
It is. And you'll see your life will start to change. It's the perspective you have about yourself. You have to start feeling better. You know, you're saying great things to yourself, and that will actually manifest in your life. Trust me, I do it.
But what's the risk of doing that? Like, if we're doing voice dialogue and subpersonality and doing that, is there like risks and challenges and like things that you might face and as a therapist and as also a client when they go through that?
Yeah, sure. So with voice dialogue, honestly, there's no risk. There's only resistance if they're a little bit stubborn. It's really easy. It's very fast, and the effects are long lasting. And if you feel that you need a top up, you can always come back. I love it because it's quick. I had a young guy that had traveled from another country to come here to get a job. He was going to the interview, panic stricken, so scared. He was just engulfed in feelings of anxiety. And he came to see me on the Friday. I think the interview was on the Monday. And I thought the only thing I can give him right now is voice dialogue to really enhance his confidence. There, he was amazing. He came back. He was actually jumping up and down. He goes, I want to do this again. So yeah, that's why I think it's really good, because it's fast.
So is voice dialogue just part of the therapy, is complementing the therapeutic approach of the healing process, or it's a different segment all by itself?
Yeah, so it can be both. You can use it on its own. Depends on what the client's presenting with. So if I feel like, okay, they just need a quick fix right now so they can just get on top of something, I will do that straight away. Otherwise, I could do all of the other healings, the counseling, the hypnosis, life coaching, and incorporate that as well, just to enhance everything. So it depends on what they need. But yes, it can complement or it can be on its own.
And does it enhance our own personal growth in a way? I understand we have like issues and we're trying to fix these issues with the voice dialogue, but can people come and talk about it as like, no, I don't have any issues right now, and you believe them, but then it was like, no, I want to be better. So it's only self-growth and self-awareness that they just want to improve.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's fine as well, because what they were actually coming to you is with sort of the problem that I want to be better. It's not really a problem, but it's something that they need. So yes, you can just use voice dialogue and work with their subpersonalities, and that's fine as well.
Perfect. Yeah. We can just, okay, I am perfect, I'm great, and from now I'm just going to be better.
Absolutely. You know, I don't think we really understand the power of our words. You know, think about the times where you've been upset and how many negative things you've said to yourself, whether it's out loud or in your mind. That really affects the way you feel. And then when you feel bad or sad or upset, whatever the case may be, that shows on your face. You know, so look how powerful these words are. Turn them around. You know, I truly believe you can look younger by doing this. I've always had that, I don't know why, in my head that, you know, the way you think and feel will actually change your body. It will change your face. Your whole look will look differently. And you actually know that because when you see people who are down or upset, they look older. Their face sort of droops. The glow goes from them. Their eyes don't sparkle.
Yeah, we see that all the time with someone who's like, they look miserable, and they do look miserable, and they look, yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, there's like, they look miserable in every aspect of their being.
Yeah, I make it like priority. Before I sleep, I have my 15-minute ritual. It's all about gratitude. It's about my body. It's about my face. It's about my life, my family, everything. And I wake up doing the same thing as soon as I open my eyes. And there's a little trick also, like if you smile, these muscles tell the brain that you're happy. So it'll send out the happy hormone so you can start to feel good as well. Yeah. You look at yourself in the mirror, why not? Because it will change the way you think and feel, and it will change the outcome of your day.
So voice dialogue is also about loving yourself and just healing whatever problem you have and self-growth and being better. Is this self-love, self-compassion, kind of coming to terms with your faults and improving? How is that approach to you as a therapist to a client who needs all of this, all of these points?
Yeah. So when you talk about self-compassion, people don't like the way they are. You know, we don't like some parts of ourselves, and we can be mean to ourselves. If we look at those parts as if they are children, You wouldn't be mean to them. You'd make them understand, and you'd be kind, and you'd be caring. And that's how you should treat yourself, because that is a better way of healing than being aggressive with yourself, being negative with yourself. So yes, be compassionate, be kind to yourself, use kind words, be understanding. Okay, I'm feeling this way today. It's not great. Don't be hard on yourself. Just say, I'm allowed to. I'm allowed to feel this way. It's not going to be here forever. What's going on? What can I do to nurture myself? What will make me feel better? I play some music. Do I feel like an iced coffee? Do I need to sleep? What does my body want? Start being compassionate to yourself. It really works. It helps you to heal faster, to calm down, and you will see the benefits of self-compassion.
We always hear about growth and self-love, but it's a new term I heard was self-compassion, which I was not aware of before. So it's actually a new term that I would love to learn more about.
Yeah. So maybe think about it like this. If your friend is upset or a family member is upset or they're anxious or something's happened, would you go to them and say, what's wrong with you? Why are you like this? Get over it. You're always doing this. You wouldn't speak to them that way. You'd be kind and compassionate. So always turn it around and say, whatever I would do for them, I need to be doing for myself.
It was so good having you today, Helen. And I learned so much, and I hope our viewers learned a lot as well. And we have so many great episodes coming, and I was so excited to have you again. And thank you so much for staying with us today. And if you have any comments, any questions, leave it in the comment section below. And don't forget to like and subscribe. See you in the next episode.